Hello, my name is Chef Tani, and I will show you how to make cream of mushroom soup today. Okay, so first thing, we are going to heat up our pan. Okay, when our pan is heated up, we're going to add clarified butter to the pan. We use clarified butter just to make sure that when we want to saute the mushroom, we don't want to burn the solids of the mushroom. Once we get enough butter to coat the bottom of our pan, this is all we need. Okay. Then we have sliced mushroom over here. I like to get the aroma of the mushroom, like the butter, to be noisette, which means like a little bit brown. So now that I can smell like the hazelnut smell, or they call it noisette, in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put my mushrooms in there. Okay. Mushrooms have a lot of water, so I can go ahead and put it on high. The water will prevent it from burning. So you can hear the sizzling, and it's a little bit dry. I'm going to add more of the clarified butter in there. And you start smelling the brown, like the roasting of the mushroom, and they're going to start extracting the moisture out of them. I'm going to put salt. Salt help extract some of the moisture, and also every time I put something in the pan, I like to go ahead and add salt, so I season as I go. When I get to the end, I'm close to what I need, and I'm not starting from zero. So we can have a lot of heat. You see I keep shaking the pan. My goal is to extract moisture out of the mushroom and get them brown. Okay. And you want to be always in control, making sure that they are getting brown without burning your mushroom. Now when I reach this point, when I cooked most of the moisture out of the mushroom and they're nice and brown, this is where I'm going to add my onions and celery to it. Once I add the onion and celery to it, it's going to cool it down. So if it's going to cool it down, let's get some more heat in our pan. Okay. You see, notice how I keep changing the heat according to what happens in my pan. Being a chef means that you are in control of the heat, not the heat in control of you. So you have to make sure that you're in control. You smell the nice smell of the onions and the celery. And I added onions and celery, so I add a little bit more salt. Okay. Now if it's a little bit under seasoned, it's fine. I'm going to finish the seasoning at the end, but at least I won't start from zero. Okay. Now that we cooked it for about 3 to 5 minutes, our onions are getting translucent and gets like sweet. We develop the sweetness of the onions. We can smell the mushrooms, the onions, and the celery. It's a wonderful smell. By the smell of what you have like in the kitchen, you can tell that the soup is going to be flavorful. If you don't develop all these flavor, you won't have a flavorful soup. So this is our time to add a quart of chicken stock. And now we can, after we add the liquid to our pan, it's time to have high heat. We want to get all the fond of the onions and mushrooms that's stuck to the bottom. We want to get it out there. If we have some fat that rises to the top, before we add the roux, we can skim the fat to release it. I can see some of the, if you can see on the top, some of the fat is rising to the top, a little foamy looking. So I'm gonna take my ladle and I'm gonna skim that off. The best way to do that is to go like this in the center of the pot and push the foam and the fat to the size of the pot, and then go with your ladle and get just the top, skim the fat. It's called dépouillage. It means take the foam off, the impurities, and dégraissage means to remove the grease or the fat from the top of your liquid. Okay, so it's almost reached the point of boiling. I remove most of the fat, and this is when I'm going to add my blonde roux. So there are three kinds of roux: white roux, blonde roux, and brown roux. It reached to a boil, so I can turn it down a little bit. We use the blonde roux because we caramelize, so we need that creamy, brownish look to that. When we're using brown roux, it's for brown sauces. White roux is for white sauces. So because we have some coloration with the mushrooms over here, then a blonde roux is appropriate. The ratio usually to make a sauce is 1 pound of roux to 1 gallon of liquid. Because we have the mushroom, we use a little bit less because the mushroom will bring body to the soup. Okay, so we add our roux, and now we can get it a little bit higher to bring it to a simmer. And after it comes to a simmer, we are going to go ahead and simmer it for about 30 minutes. Let the mushroom and the onions and the stock become one flavor, and let the flavors out of the mushroom and the onion get into the stock. And after that, we will continue by pureeing it, adding the cream, and plating it. Now that we simmer the soup for 30 minutes, the next step is to go ahead and strain it, okay? The reason we strain it is because we want to separate our liquid from the solids. This way, we are making sure that we have control on the consistency. By separating it, I can add the liquid to it until I reach the desired consistency. Okay, I'm going to put this on the side. I'm going to take a Vitamix. A Vitamix is a really good blender. I'm going to put my solids into the blender. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend my soup. I'm going to put some of the liquid, and then I can add the other liquid later on. So when you use your Vitamix, before you turn it on, you need to make sure it's on variable and then it's on 1, so when you turn it on, it won't fly into your face, okay? So we turn it, and then we get it faster. And we can use that to prevent it from splashing and mixing. Get it all the way too high. And then change it from variable to high speed. When we turn it down, we change it from high to variable, then from 10 to 1, and then we turn off our Vitamix. The reason we turn it off this way is the next person who uses that, it's not going to jump in his face. Now let's go ahead and see if I added enough liquid. It seems like it's a little bit too thick, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the liquid. And then start again slow, and then go to 10, then from 10 to high speed, and then vice like the reverse. Now the Vitamix is a very good blender. But sometimes you have pieces that sticks to the side, and cream soup should never have anything in there. Not even little pieces of mushroom or onion. So after you get it blended, you want to go ahead and strain it to a different bain-marie. So you make sure that there are no pieces of onions or mushroom left. Okay. Now you go and put this back. Before I put it back, I make sure that I take my pan and make sure that there are nothing in there. And I'm going to take and put my soup back. I'm going to turn on the heat on very low. And bring it to a simmer slowly. The reason I'm putting it on slow, there's some flour in it from the roux, and you don't want to, you want to make sure, let me show that this is clean. You want to make sure that it's not sticking to the bottom. I'm washing my spatula to make sure that there are no any pieces on it, because I want my soup to be nice and smooth. Now I'm going to take some cream and I'm going to heat it up. The reason I'm heating it up, I don't want to cool down my soup, and I don't want like a contrast between the cold cream and the hot soup. It can break it. So I'm going to heat up some cream, and I'm going to make sure that my soup is heating up and not sticking to the bottom. It has a beautiful brownish color to it. And then I'm going to take my heated cream and add some cream into my cream soup. The reason you add cream is like mellows it down and smoothes out the cream soup. I'm going to taste it for seasoning. Perfect. Okay. Nice flavor, nice seasoning with the salt. The soup is ready to go. So I'm going to saute some mushrooms for garnish. I'm going to put some butter in my pan. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And I'm going to saute it until it's brown. Once it gets some brown coloration on it, I'm going to take it out and put it on a piece of paper so it absorbs the excess butter. I'm going to put it on a piece of paper. Now that our soup is ready, our garnish is ready, I'm going to show you how to plate it. We have a soup bowl over here. We're going to have our hot soup into a hot plate. And the rule of thumb is 2/3 of the height of the bowl. The reason we do that is when the waiter takes it, you don't want it to be too full, so when he takes it, it's going to splatter on the sides of the bowl. We can put a few pieces of mushroom right here in the center, make a little mound of mushroom. And then we can finish up with a little bit of chopped parsley.